Boom, headshot. Snipers are the ever-present nuisance of the video game world that new players can't help but draw themselves to, and in Dota, this is no different. Kardel Sharpeye manages to be a powerful base defender, a long-range pick-off artist, and an absolute monster in teamfights if left unchecked. And he somehow manages to do all of this despite being such a tiny, tiny man. Activate your blade mail and run straight into the history of Sniper. Sniper excels at dealing damage from a long distance and making sure that there's space between himself and his enemies. His first skill is Shrapnel, a moderately sized AoE spell that damages and slows any enemies who walk in the radius. The skill comes with 3 charges and provides utility through its ability to crowd control, scout areas in the fog of war, and discourage enemy heroes from getting too close. Headshot is a passive ability that gives Sniper's auto attacks a chance to deal extra damage and a brief slow. Contrary to its name, this skill does not insta-kill your target and will not make you a sponsored MLG player. Take Aim is another passive that increases Sniper's attack range. This skill can extend your auto attack range outside of the tower's range, and is also what makes Sniper such an obnoxious entity in the late game. Sniper's ultimate, Assassinate, is a single target ability that deals a fair amount of magic damage from a far range. When cast, this spell will place a debuff on the target which grants shared vision. The projectile from this spell can be disjointed, but will otherwise follow the target and inflict a mini-stun on impact. It's kind of difficult to say when exactly Sniper was implemented into the game because he made his debut as Kazmodon the Dwarven Sharpshooter in patch 2.60 on March 1st, 2004. I say this because they share similar abilities and the same overall concept, although the skills are different enough to the point where I would call them entirely separate characters altogether. Also, his name is that of a continent in the Warcraft universe. That's like if my name were Disney's California Adventure the Tall. The Sharpshooter's first skill was Undermine, a spell that would only damage buildings after a brief channel. His second skill, Headshot, is similar to what we have now, except it performed a mini-stun on proc. The dwarf's third skill was Rapid Reload, which passively increases attack speed rather than attack range, and his ultimate, Assassinate, functioned more or less the same. By today's standards, this version of Sniper is not very cohesive in his gameplay and is more of a concept of what a dwarven sniping character should be, as opposed to a standalone hero. Kazmodon is even less impressive when you consider at this time, heroes like Astro Tracker had a total of 15 seconds of disables, and Omni Knight could provide spell immunity for 30 seconds, a lot more representative of the Gwynsu era of Dota that's so infamous today. In 4.00, Kazmodon had his name and title changed to Kardel Sharpeye the Sniper, which is still what he goes by in Dota 2. In 5.40, Rapid Reload was temporarily replaced by a skill called Rifle Upgrade, which improves aspects of Sniper's other abilities, similar to Ogre Magi's multicast. In 5.5, Kardel had changes to 2 of his skills which makes him more closely resemble the minuscule rifleman that we're familiar with now. His first skill was changed to Scattershot, a basic AoE nuke that dealt a flat amount of damage, and his third skill was changed to Take Aim, which, for the time, was a toggleable skill that increased the range of his attacks at the cost of severely lowering his move speed. However, in 5.72, Take Aim was modified so that it just passively increased his range without any additional downsides. Like his lore states, Sniper's main goal is to systematically destroy his opponents from afar, and this first took place on patch 6.00 that made his auto attack projectile increase from 900 to instant, forcing your opponents to question their sanity as it seems like a ghost is punching their health bar away. Scattershot also received a rework, changing from a flat damage nuke to showering a target with a barrage of explosive pellets, all of which deal a random amount of physical damage each. 6.60 had Scattershot reworked into the more familiar Shrapnel. It has the same AoE damaging concept, although Shrapnel lasts over the course of 10 seconds and slows any enemy units walking through it. Finally, in 6.68, Sniper's night vision was increased from 800 to 1000, and kills through Assassinate grant Sniper experience even if the target dies outside of the experience radius. On August of 2010, Flint Beastwood took on the mantle of New Earth's resident Sniper. His skills are more or less the same with a couple of details that I would like to point out. In place of Shrapnel, Flint has Explosive Flare, which does everything Shrapnel does, just all at once. Upon cast, it will deal damage in an area and then provide vision over it for a few seconds. The spell will slow any enemy's movement speed if they come into the AoE, and the damage also affects towers. Additionally, Flint's ultimate is named Money Shot, which, of course it is, because Heroes of New Earth basically tried everything it could to appeal to a very specific demographic of people. Flint has an alternate avatar that references Kardel in Flint Boomstick. He is as legally distinct from a Dwarven Sniper as Han can get away with without invoking the wrath of Blizzard's lawyers. His voice lines also reference the original Dwarven Rifleman, and put next together, it sounds like they're having a conversation.
It's boomstick time!
This is my boomstick! Shoot to kill!
You shoot to kill, you better hit the heart.
In honorable mention territory, Caitlyn of League of Legends fame is the closest thing you'll get to Sniper due to her overall motif, high range, and point and click ult that deals a high amount of damage to pick off heroes running away. It's kind of a shame that she's a tall hot lady instead of a small grumpy man. In the same vein as Caitlyn, Nova in Heroes of the Storm kind of fills the sniper role, although the only real connection to Kardel that she has is her ult, which, like you guessed it, targets an enemy and shoots them dead. More importantly, I wanted to bring up Nova because I spent $10 on a pre-order for StarCraft Ghost when I was 12, which is like rent money when you're that young, and I'm still waiting for the damn thing. Sniper run and gun to Dota 2 in the initial group of heroes debuting in August of 2011. Here, he is portrayed as a jolly manlet, focusing more on the technological aspects of warfare with his rifle and spotter. His reason for fighting in the ancient war is explained in his backstory, which states that he comes from a group of Keenfolk where gunmanship is not only celebrated, but a way of life. He was the best shooter in his village, and upon a rite of passage ceremony where he would have to aim down a beast from far away, the way the bullet entered the monster just so happened to be the beginning to a dark prophecy among his people. Kardel wasn't allowed to return home until he became a legend on the battlefield, and that's why he ruins all of your pub games. The first major update to Sniper post Dota 2 came in patch 6.76, increasing Shrapnel's cast range from 1200 to 1800. In the same patch, headshot procs could no longer miss due to evasion or blind effects, the proc chance increased to 40% at all levels, damage was rescaled, and the stun duration increased to 0.25 seconds at all levels. Since Sniper was getting so many buffs from Ice Frog, more scrubby players started picking him, and this made Mr. Sharpeye incredibly upset. So on June 28, 2013, Sniper's model was updated to have much more detail and better textures, but that doesn't take away from the fact that he's being controlled by a guy who doesn't check the minimap and reports his nice position 5 teammates for give feed. So now, he's angry. In 6.82, Headshot was changed from performing a mini stun on proc to instead slowing down the target's attack speed by 100 and movement speed by 100% for 0.5 seconds. Whether or not this is more annoying than a mini stun is up for debate, but some key changes that would affect the game globally came within the same patch, making Sniper the most infuriating hero to deal with. 6.82 reworked the way that you would gain golden experience from killing an enemy hero. Valve updated the formulas, allowing you to gain golden experience simply from being within a certain range of an enemy dying. Alongside this, the original awards were given based on a fairly simple equation, but the revision would include the dying hero's net worth and difference in experience relative to you. This created a rubber banding or comeback effect where teams on the losing side could catch up a lot quicker and more easily than before. This change marked the beginning of a terrible period in Dota 2's history where comebacks happened far too often and team drafts would typically include heroes like Juggernaut, Troll Warlord, and Sniper. Of course, I'm talking about the ho-ho, ha-ha patch. Sniper saw a Shrapnel rework in 6.83, switching from a single AoE spell to a charge system with a 40-second replenish time and a maximum of 3 Shrapnels to use at any given time. This no longer dealt damage to buildings, and the mana cost was reduced to keep Sniper's mana pool from draining instantly. Initially, there was a debate among players regarding the change to Shrapnel and whether or not it was indeed a buff. It didn't take long before people realized that the new comeback mechanics mixed with Sniper's insane high ground defense game brewed the perfect storm of ass and balls. 6.83 unintentionally encouraged carry players to farm all game, and with the common pickups of Phase Boot, Ring of Aquila, and Mask of Madness, it was more than feasible to spend 40 minutes mowing down creep waves even if it meant dying to ganks. Since pushing into the high ground was already so difficult and risky, Sniper's new Shrapnel and the fact that he would yell out like a moron every time he cast a spell struck terror into the hearts of players everywhere, as their dying screams would swing the gold advantage directly into Sniper's pockets. And it's here that we should all remember that war truly never changes.
I found that sniper you were talking about.
He's a legend, known as the father of sniping.
I'm still in a dream, snake eater.
6.84 made things right again as golden experience granted from kills was generally lowered, and kills from high net worth enemies would grant your team more gold than before. Shrapnel was also nerfed quite a bit, increasing the charge time and its effect delay. Headshot could also miss again, and Assassinate's damage was reduced. 7.00 granted Sniper his first Aghanim Scepter upgrade. This turns Assassinate into an area target ability, shooting all enemy heroes and illusions in the area. Instead of dealing magical damage, this upgrade would make it so that Sniper deals its attack damage with a 280% critical strike, as well as applying headshot to all opponents hit. Damage dealt this way has True Strike and applies any attack modifiers that Sniper might have. Sniper's first set of talents are pretty boring overall, but Lone Druid took it upon himself to wear his best Sniper cosplay with a level 10 talent that increases attack range, and overall becoming a much tankier, more mobile Sniper than Kardel himself. At this point, I would offer my condolences with a 21 gun salute, but Syllabear could probably do that better too. In 7.07, Sniper's talents were reworked with his level 20 talent standing out. Minus 1.5 seconds to Assassinate's cast time makes picking off targets a lot quicker and safer, since Sniper doesn't have to channel the spell for too long before shooting the projectile. If you're looking for pure annoyance, Headshot applying a 35 range knockback could be exactly what you're looking for. Enemy heroes trying to pounce on that Keenfolk ass will have their march impeded, and you can make the enemy give up out of pure frustration. Sniper, for all the trouble that he causes, is both relaxing yet satisfying to play. Being a late game force of nature with a crisp attack animation makes him a good pick, and you should totally ask for commends because lol carry noob team, because I'm sure you're the only one that did anything useful all game while you were stuck there in the jungle dying to a combination of neutral camps, bounty hunters, and pretty much anything stronger than a slight breeze. I'm Dennis the Tall, and that was the history of Sniper. If you're new here and like the sound of my voice, I'm sure you'll love to set your sights on any one of these other episodes of Dotaology. If you're not new here, can I crash on your couch tonight? I swear this YouTube thing's gonna take off someday. I'll pay you in the future, but don't sleep on me, man. It's gonna get big.